Mike Tyson has been offered a staggering $700 million for a potential rematch with Jake Paul, a figure that has drawn a lot of attention, not just because of the immense sum, but due to the drama and controversy surrounding the first fight between the two. Turkish billionaire Alec, a passionate boxing fan, has presented Tyson with what many would consider a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. However, this offer comes with a whirlwind of questions and concerns, particularly about the authenticity of the previous bout and the feasibility of a rematch given Tyson's age and health. The first fight between Mike Tyson, at 58 years old, and Jake Paul, a 27-year-old social media star turned boxer, took place just last month. It was a highly anticipated event that many felt would be a spectacle, but not necessarily a serious boxing match. The bout was conducted under special rules that included the use of 14-ounce gloves, which some speculated were designed to protect Tyson's aging hands. Despite the unique setup, Tyson lost the match by unanimous decision, with the judges scoring the bout 80-72 and 79-73 twice. The fight, however, didn't leave many fans satisfied. In fact, some people left before the fight even ended, and those who stayed were left with an underwhelming sense of disappointment. The match seemed to lack the intensity and skill expected from such a high-profile event, and many boxing experts shared the same sentiment. Some even called the fight an embarrassment for the sport, as Tyson, who once reigned as one of the most feared boxers in history, didn't seem to show the same ferocity in the ring that he was once known for. In the aftermath of the fight, Tyson was asked about the feedback and criticisms, to which he responded with a rather calm and collected attitude. "I'm not saying anything. I don't need to say anything," Tyson remarked, brushing off the haters and doubters who had criticized his performance. As the dust settled, the focus shifted to the $700 million rematch offer from Alec, the Turkish millionaire. Alec, who made headlines for this massive offer, explained that his goal wasn't simply to profit from the event, but to revive the glory of boxing. He claimed that boxing needed big-name matches to bring excitement back into the sport, especially at a time when many fans felt disillusioned by some of the recent, less competitive bouts. However, while the offer is undeniably tempting, there are several issues that make the prospect of a rematch seem far less realistic. For one, Tyson's age and health have raised serious concerns. At 58, Tyson is no longer the powerhouse he once was, and his physical abilities have diminished with time. Observers noted during the first fight that Tyson's balance appeared to be off, with some speculating that his legs weren't as steady as they used to be. This observation was confirmed by Tyson's trainer, who mentioned that Tyson's balance had indeed been a problem throughout the fight. Adding to the doubts about the legitimacy of the first fight, there have been whispers that the bout may have been scripted or at least choreographed in some way. Some viewers noticed unusual behavior from Tyson during the match, particularly when he was seen repeatedly biting his gloves. This strange act raised suspicions that Tyson may have been signaling to Jake Paul to ease up on him, perhaps as a way of keeping the fight competitive without seriously hurting Tyson. Given the sheer amount of money at stake, it's not far-fetched to consider that the fight may not have been as spontaneous as it appeared. Jake Paul, for his part, has largely remained silent on the matter, though rumors persist that he may have intentionally held back during the fight. ESPN's Mike Coppinger claimed that Paul could have knocked Tyson out if he had wanted to, but instead chose to play it safe and avoid causing any serious injury to the aging legend. Meanwhile, Timothy Bradley, a former world champion, disagreed with that theory, suggesting that Paul simply avoided Tyson's punches throughout the fight. Paul himself later admitted that his primary goal was to entertain the fans, and that he didn't want to hurt Tyson, who he described as a living legend. Despite the questions surrounding the legitimacy of the fight, the topic of whether Tyson's legacy was tarnished by the bout continues to be a subject of debate. Many former fighters and pundits, including Jonathan Davis, believe that Tyson's performance in the fight cast a shadow over his once glorious career. Tyson, however, has remained unapologetic about the match, and it seems that he is not particularly concerned with what the critics have to say. On the other hand, Tyson's challenger, Jake Paul, seems somewhat indifferent to the idea of a rematch. Although he earned a reported $40 million for the first fight, Paul appears to be moving on to other challenges. He has expressed little interest in fighting Tyson again, especially now that he is focusing on a potential world title in boxing. Despite his retirement from influencer boxing, Paul remains active in the sport, constantly calling out new opponents. His latest offer to Tommy Fury, for instance, was an $8 million purse for a rematch, though Fury ultimately chose to pursue an MMA fight instead. The question remains, though, if Tyson does decide to accept Alec's massive offer for a rematch, what can we expect from the fight? Will Tyson, now 58, be able to mount a serious challenge against Jake Paul, who is significantly younger and in his prime? Many observers are skeptical, but the prospect of such a large payday is undoubtedly tempting for Tyson, who has faced financial difficulties in the past. The offer from Alec has certainly ignited a firestorm of speculation, with some suggesting that it is merely a publicity stunt, while others believe that Alec genuinely wants to see Tyson back in the ring to create one of the most dramatic moments in modern boxing history. However, as much as the $700 million offer may seem like an opportunity too good to pass up, the risks involved for Tyson, both physically and reputationally, cannot be ignored. Meanwhile, other figures in the boxing world, such as Otto Wallen, have weighed in on the fight, saying that a prime Mike Tyson would have easily dispatched Jake Paul in no time. Wallen's comments, along with those of other boxing insiders, highlight the disparity in skill and experience between Tyson and Paul, and cast doubt on the authenticity of their first encounter. Though Tyson's health and performance were criticized by many, his trainer and others who have worked closely with him remain supportive of the fighter, insisting that Tyson was still capable of competing at a high level, even if his best days are behind him. UFC star Kali and boxing coach Tim Welch, for example, dismissed claims of match fixing, praising Tyson for his resilience despite his advanced age. Joe Rogan, who has long been a supporter of Tyson, also expressed concerns for his safety during the fight, but was relieved to see that Tyson walked away without any serious injuries. Despite all the controversy and criticism, Tyson's legacy remains intact for many fans, who still see him as one of the greatest boxers to ever step into the ring. Whether or not he accepts the $700 million offer, Tyson's place in boxing history is secured, but it's clear that the fallout from the Jake Paul fight will continue to fuel debates and discussions for years to come. As for Jake Paul, he continues to move forward with his career, undeterred by the doubt surrounding his legitimacy as a boxer. His focus now is on earning a world title, and he's willing to face anyone who stands in his way. Whether or not he will ever face Mike Tyson in the ring again remains to be seen, but for now, the world waits to see what will happen next in the drama-filled saga of Paul versus Tyson. One thing is certain, the offer of $700 million for a rematch between Tyson and Paul is one of the most intriguing developments in boxing in recent years, and it will no doubt keep fans and pundits alike talking for a long time to come. Whether the fight happens or not, the tension and intrigue surrounding it have certainly reignited interest in the sport, even if it's just for the spectacle of it all.